For clarity on Loie Fuller. Scene 1. Electric Angel, 1892. "Will someone put that light out?" Loie whispered to a shadow behind the curtain. With a sputter, the last gaslight was extinguished, and it went dark backstage at the Folies Bergère. The 5'2" American dancer raised her arms to extend the gauzy wings of her gown, gripping the smooth, light rods sewn into the folds of the dress as if her life depended on it. Her body hummed with nervous energy. She had to move. Pushing her hands back and forth and rotating her wrists, Loie created gentle undulations in the featherweight silk for a few moments before lowering her arms to maneuver the skirt back into place with a shimmy. She dropped her head, willed her shoulders to relax, and waited. It was impossible to wipe away the bead of sweat that tickled its way across her cheek down to the end of her nose, where it rested for a few moments before free-falling into blackness. "Faker, faker, faker!" The childhood taunt always haunted her at moments like these. She could still picture the faces of the boys who had teased her when she was a child. But they were grown men now. Maybe she was a faker. But fabricating the impossible from the ordinary was her greatest skill. Loie might not be the most beautiful dancer in Paris, but she was by far the most inventive. Rather than depending on choreography or exposed flesh, she incorporated technology into her art to make it new and modern. Light, colour, and nature were her muses, and she called on them to create dances so original that they crossed over into the realm of art. She only required an audience with the vision to appreciate what she'd done. Loie desperately hoped that Paris would be that audience. She'd fallen in love with the idea of the city and everything it stood for. Art, beauty, modernity. Her own homeland refused to appreciate the importance of her work or credit her for it, and her ideas were being stolen almost as fast as she could manufacture them. Attempts to patent her costumes and choreography in the United States had failed miserably, and there was little comfort in the fact that none of her imitators had been talented enough to copy her special lighting and colour effects successfully. If no one in Paris was moved by her dances or recognized her talent for innovation, this would be just another failed stop on her endless quest for artistic and financial success. Still, she had a feeling that this city was her oyster. It had to be. Parisians appreciated art, or so she'd been told. Paris could make her dreams come true. Thanks to Thomas Edison's recent invention of the light bulb, the famous French capital had been transformed into the City of Light. For the first time, it was possible to walk the narrow streets safely after dark. Packed cafes and bars had become fertile ground for late-night conversations. Best of all, the city was a magnet for modern thinkers, and the air was heavy with inspiration, full of ideas waiting to be plucked and formed by artists, writers, and philosophers. New methods of depicting the world using language, line, and colour were being born as fast as they could be jotted down. After years of portraying wealth, power, and religion, artists and writers had moved in a new direction and were now exploring the lives of working people, making them larger than life. Rather than representing royals and mythological figures, painters like Gustave Caillebotte and Camille Pissarro filled their canvases with revolutionary images of peasants scraping floors and gathering grass. Naturalist writers like Émile Zola and J.K. Huysmans used starkly realistic descriptions to explore the life of the working class and the poverty-stricken. Zola's work, which occasionally wove myth into human experience and endowed ordinary objects with lifelike qualities, ignited a new school of thought called symbolism, whose disciples embraced dreams, the mythological and the spiritual, believing that truth was revealed in emotional reaction.